You are listening to a special edition of the Central Indiana Sports Report, our preview of the Class 3A Sectional 27 championship game between the Western Panthers and the Twin Lakes Indians, co-hosted by Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader, with special guest Jay Stevens of the Kokomo Post and Western head coach Austin Colby. Welcome to our special edition of the Central Indiana Sports Report with myself, your host Greg Mengelt, and Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader sports editor Michelle Garmon. Our Class 3A Sectional 27 preview of the Western Panthers and Twin Lakes Indians in the championship game. We'll be joined by Kokomo Post sports editor Jay Stevens and Western head coach Austin Colby to discuss Friday's championship game in Rushville. Then Michelle and I will return to make our game prediction. Before we get to that, I want to let you know what's going on with the Central Indiana Sports Report. First of all, this is one of 8 sectional championship previews. Please go check out all the others. On Friday, I'll have the sectional championship scoreboard show with scores and highlights from across Indiana. Also this weekend, we will have previews of IU football, Purdue football, and the Colts, and reactions to all 3 of those, plus IU basketball against Marquette and Purdue basketball against Oakland. And on Friday, our college football preview and prediction show with Eric and Ryan Robinson. If you like the podcast and like what we're doing, please do us a huge favor and click the like button. Every time someone hits the like button, our podcast platforms, including YouTube, spread it to others who may be interested in listening. It helps more than it seems like it would. Also, please consider subscribing. We're at Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Audible, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Please do it so you don't miss any of the fun. Also, basketball season is right around the corner. We'll have our boys and girls scoreboard shows multiple times a week starting next week. Of course, Twin Lakes and Western recently became Hoosier Conference rivals, with Twin Lakes winning the regular season matchup this year 22-15 in the regular season finale. Not long ago, the Indians were a bit of a doormat program. Then former Central Catholic state championship head coach Kevin O'Shea came to Monticello and turned around the Indians quickly. In 3 years, he's taken them from 1 win to 5 and now to 9, and on the doorstep of a sectional championship, which will be the program's first since 2002 and their 6th overall. O'Shea's teams are known for their passing game. This year is no exception. Junior Cooper Dold has thrown for 2,315 yards and 27 touchdowns, and has a pair of receivers, Junior Ledger Schaefer and Senior Elliott Need, who have more than 1,500 yards combined and 18 touchdowns. The Indians are also capable on the ground with more than 1,500 yards and 26 touchdowns as a team this year. Twin Lakes defense has improved 9 points per game over last year. Western has improved in every way from last year. The Panthers entered the season on a 12-game losing streak and then lost their season opener to Indian Creek before winning their next 5 and finishing the regular season 6-3. They've since beaten West Lafayette and Frankton in the postseason to earn their spot in the sectional championship game for the first time since 2017. The Western offense runs through senior quarterback Levi Shoemaker, who rushed over 40 times the last 2 weeks. In the huge win over defending champion West Lafayette, Shoemaker ran for 205 yards and threw for 107, and has so far been the MVP of this sectional. The Panthers have won 2 sectionals all time, 1984 and 2007. Please stay tuned for Jay Stevens, then Austin Colby, then Michelle and I will be back to make our prediction. As we continue our preview of the Sectional 27 championship game between the Western Panthers and the Twin Lakes Indians, we welcome Jay Stevens, the sports editor at the Kokomo Post, to talk a little bit about the Western Panthers. And Jay, Western big win over West Lafayette in week 1, then had to come from behind and beat Frank to now host a very good Twin Lakes team that beat them 22-15 at Twin Lakes a few weeks ago. Jay, you were there for the West Lafayette game. Tell us how the Western Panthers have been playing.
Playing very well. Playing the type of football you would expect from an Austin Colby-led team. Very well in sync, even though they lost not only the leading rusher at Nikitrick, but also a guy that was a force for them on defense. And Levi Shoemaker has stepped up. He's a bigger piece of the pie with the offense, even using some different formations right now to try to make sure that Shoemaker is able to continue the ball control type of run set that Austin Colby wants. And the West Lafayette game showed a lot of promise for the defense. Got a big PBU late in the game by Max Duke to kind of force a fourth down, which West Lafayette ended up throwing an incomplete pass. Western got the ball back and ran out the clock. But Western is a team that when they're playing good ball, even with this new bunch with some guys moving around, they're going to be really hard to stop.
That said, Twin Lakes, of course, Kevin O'Shea is one of a really outstanding coach, and Twin Lakes has really, I believe this is his second year there, they've really just kept getting better in that spread offense that he run, or his third year. But each year they've improved and keep getting better in that spread offense, and they just have a lot of weapons. I mean, I think what they do so well is spread you across the field. And we talked to Austin earlier, and we talked about the importance of a pass rush. Is that something you can foresee Western being able to do on a consistent basis, is get a decent pass rush? Because if you give Dode time to throw, he will find an open receiver.
Consistent is an interesting word to use because I believe they can get pressure, but doing it as often as you need to do is one that I'm kind of still up in the air about. Even as we speak, leading into the conversation, I was kind of wondering what Western could do to kind of slow down this offense, and it is to get pressure on the quarterback. Is doing it consistently might be a little bit of an issue. And I think that is something that Austin Colby is going to hammer down this week, as he is going to do so well every single week, hit the fundamentals. After the game against West Lafayette, they said the word of the week was effort, and they focused on blocking and tackling. Well, I think this week you're going to have to focus. One of your main focuses is going to be getting pressure on the quarterback. And you don't want to always have to blitz to do so. Now, if you have to, you have to. But if you can not blitz and get pressure on the quarterback, that's going to allow the guys at the linebackers and the secondary to be able to bat some of those balls down so Dole isn't able to spread the ball out like he wants to.
They did do a pretty good job against them the first time around, and if they can control that passing game, their first sectional championship since 2007 is a real possibility.
Yes, it is. It is a realistic possibility, and I don't have a doubt that anybody in that program is going into that game thinking this is going to be their last. I believe everybody believes that after that win over West Lafayette, and then getting a slight scare a week ago, that they have to not only crank it up the intensity a little bit, but also lean into what the potential of this team is. And we've talked about it numerous times on this show. I don't want to always go back to a year ago at this late in the season, but the story of this team is they had a 13-game losing streak that went back to 2023 in this year, went 0-10 last year, and now they have a shot to win a sectional title. And so knowing the story, knowing Austin Colby's coming to Western and having a system that the players are familiar with, and it's similar to Alex Stewart's, but there's some tweaks that I think fit what they want to do very, very well. I think this could be one of those stories that is one of the better stories around the state. Now, I don't know if there's anybody that went 0-9 in the regular season and still playing right now, but outside of that, if you look around the state, this is probably one of the best stories anybody could find from a year ago to now. The quick turnaround and the complete buy-in by all the players has been a lot of fun to watch.
The key is to keep Levi Shoemaker healthy, right?
You have to. I saw the game against West Lafayette. His helmet came off, automatically have to come up to the sideline. Austin Colby called a timeout, and then they started doing snaps with the backup quarterback to kind of get his hands on the ball so he could kind of get the feel there, because there really is no one else that could even, with Shoemaker playing, you don't have another lead back. He is your lead back. He is your quarterback. He is your offense. There are some other guys that'll get the ball, Bryson Rucker, Daniel Ousley, Brendan Walters, among others, but Shoemaker is the engine that makes this offense go. So you have to keep him healthy. One thing I think that might be interesting is trying to see how much Colby leans on Shoemaker to throw the ball. He threw the ball 14 times, completed 9 of his passes the first time these two teams met. I don't think he'll throw it that many times. But if he throws it 5 to 7, that's enough to keep the opposing defense honest. That will allow him to have easier lanes to run through. Even if it's only a 5-yard gain, that's all you need in this offense. 4 or 5 yards, keep the ball moving down the field, keep the ball in your hands away from the opposing team. That 5 to 7 mark for Shoemaker to throw the ball, that could be a wrinkle that could help Kokomo, help Western win the sectional title Friday night.
And by that standard, I think it's really important for Western to stay ahead of the chains, so to speak. I don't think they want to have to be in a 2nd and 3rd and long, whereas I don't think Twin Lakes does it because of maybe worry about the blitz, but they also have an offense that can pick up those 2nd and 3rd and longs just by finding an open receiver or a receiver in open space.
You're 100% correct. Staying above the chains is needed. One thing about this team is that when they do get behind the chains, it's a big struggle. It's a huge struggle to try to get that momentum and to try to get that first down. So staying above the chains, in front of the chains, is not as key for any team, but this type of offense, getting behind and it's going from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 13, if you don't get a big gain on 2nd down to make it 3rd and 4, maybe, you're probably not going to pick up that 3rd down, and you're probably going to have to punt. So staying ahead of the chains is a major key for this offense.
Jay Stevens, sports editor at the Kokomo Post, thank you so much for joining us. Either way, if it's Western or Twin Lakes, it's going to be a great story. Tell everybody how they can read your work, Jay.
Head to the kokomopost.com, and we'll have an article coming out later this week of me picking the winners of the sectional title games between sectionals 12, 27, and 36. I forget the numbers because there's so many.
Those are right.
We're trying to follow.
Those are correct. And of course, Jay will be joining us on the other podcasts as well to preview the Kokomo and Eastern games. Thank you so much for your time, Jay.
Thank you.
We continue our preview of Sectional 27 championship game with Western head coach Austin Colby. And I know your team probably hates being reminded of this as much as the media likes talking about it. From winless last year to within a game of a sectional championship coach, what a ride it's been this year, your first year there.
Definitely. From when I got there in January, it's been a total rebuild in terms of what they had going on there last year. So everybody bought in immediately. That made things a lot simpler when everyone's on the same page. Everyone's that's been involved in the program this year has earned the right to play for this game, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to lead the guys into battle this week. Hopefully we can get it done. Twin Lakes is a good football team, but excited about the opportunity for sure.
Coach, what adjustments have you and your staff looked at making from your earlier meeting with Twin Lakes?
We led for about 30 minutes of that game, actually probably even a little bit more. And we just got outplayed in the second half and really the fourth quarter of the week 9 game against Twin Lakes. But, I think obviously we showed last week if we don't come out and play with the effort and intensity that is needed to win a football game, we're going to be in a battle no matter who we play. And after the Frankton game on Saturday morning, we came in and rewatched the Twin Lakes game from week 9 just to be reminded of that, effort or lack thereof that we had when we played in the first game. And, we know going into this game, we have all the tools to get the job done. But if we just don't go out and play a clean football game and focus on what we're supposed to do every single play, it's going to be tough. For we'll probably, it could even fall short. So we got everybody's attention, and we've had a great week of practice. We've put in a few different adjustments defensively and offensively, a few new wrinkles, nothing out of the ordinary. We just need to go play our football game.
Of course, you guys are kind of very at opposite ends of the spectrum, and you're a line 'em up power running football
Yep.
team, and they like to spread you out across the field and throw the ball.
Yes.
So,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
so I think when you face a team like that, it's imperative to be able to get to the quarterback and put pressure, because it's kind of hard to, especially I think at the high school level, to cover all those weapons, have your secondary have to cover all of those guys for a very long period of time.
No doubt about it. And that's one thing we didn't get done the first time we played him. We never got the quarterback on the ground. So that's been a point of emphasis this week. He does a great job of getting out of the pocket and extending plays and keeping his eyes downfield. And the receivers do a great job in their scramble drill and working to get open. And that makes it that much harder. It's easy. It's hard enough to defend a route when he's supposed to do what he's doing, and then when it turns into backyard football, and essentially that's what it looks like. The guys running around at recess and just running wherever they're supposed to be or finding an open area. When you have to do that for 8-9 seconds, it's almost impossible to do at any level of football. So got to keep their quarterback in the pocket and have to get him on the ground when we have our opportunities, but. The weather may play a factor this Friday and slowing them down a little bit, but we can't bank on that happening. We just got to go out and make sure we keep him in the pocket and make him beat us from in there, which will help us be a better football team defensively, no doubt about it.
Well, Coach, I talked to Marty Wells, and he's after your win last week, and
Yeah.
he said he just thought you guys just wore them down as the game went on, and especially in the fourth quarter. So that's one way to slow a passing attack too, isn't it? Is if offensively you can wear Twin
Yep.
Lakes down.
Yeah, for sure. You got to go out and just get first downs and keep the ball away from them. Our best. We say this all the time. Our best defense is when we're, getting 4 or 5 yards at a time and winning the time of possession battle. And we've done it in a lot of our wins this year. And we were up, or got beat 22-15 against a good spread football team who's 9-2, week 9. They killed us in the time of possession battle. They'd run the ball on first down and milk some clock and, get to second or third down and extend a play and get a first down by a yard or whatever it took. And we're able to extend drives. And, it was a demoralizing game because our defense was on the field, the whole game, which we're used to being in the opposite role there, obviously, and winning that time of possession battle and keeping the other team's offense on the sideline. But, if we can go out and play with the effort that we need to up front, and if Levi can do what he has done the past couple weeks, and he's going to have to carry the load for us. He's had over 40 carries the last 2 weeks and over 500 yards, but he's one of those guys that's built to do that, and his big frame, and he's going to go play college football. And luckily, it's not going to be the first time that he's had to do that this year, which I think plays into our favor. But he's one of those guys that is willing to almost put the team on his back and carry us there. It's kind of shades of what Knox is doing up there with Miles McLaughlin right now. And obviously, he hasn't done it all year, so he doesn't quite have the numbers. But the last couple games, he's been our guy, and we're going to make sure he has the ball in his hands when the time's necessary.
Coach, what's practice been like the first few days here of sectional championship weekend? What's the health of the team?
We're getting guys healthy. We didn't have our starting middle linebacker against Frankton, Mason Connor, who's been our kind of our guy. He calls our defense for us. So we had a couple different guys step in there in place of him. But he was able to practice today and look good in there. So glad we have him back, and everybody else is pretty well. It's been an unbelievable week of practice for practicing in November. Sometimes the weather this time of the year, you just don't know. And it's been one of those weeks in the tournament where, if you're not playing, you walk out of school after being inside all day and you're like, man, I wish I was practicing today. But we were fortunate enough to be able to have that opportunity to be able to play this week, and we've taken full advantage of it, and gone a little bit longer and done a little bit extra in the film room before we go outside, or pre-practice before the team starts and gets out there. But it's been a great week, and we got one more day tomorrow, and we'll definitely use it. But just excited for all of our guys to get the opportunity to play in this game.
Western head coach Austin Colby, thank you so much for your time, and good luck on Friday.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Michelle, you and I saw Twin Lakes play earlier this year, and we've heard all the facts and figures, and we heard about Twin Lakes win over Western earlier this year, 22-15 in a really competitive game. We heard from Jay Stevens of the Kokomo Post and Western head coach Austin Colby. Michelle, after all of that, what's your prediction for Sectional 27, Twin Lakes Indians, the Western Panthers?
The Twin Lakes Indians, I picked them from the get-go to win the sectional. I'm going to stay with it. I think Austin Colby is a really good coach, and I think the Panthers, the story from winless to what they've done this year, is a really nice story. It is a nice story because of the turnaround. But Colby came in with an offense and a system that's very similar to what Western had, that these seniors were familiar with 2 years ago, and before that under Alex Stewart, because it's a lot of the same system he ran, kind of similar to the system he ran. It made it easier for Austin, I think, to get that turnaround. I just like Twin Lakes because I like their explosive offense. They have the ability, they can play from behind, play from ahead. I think if they can get ahead of Western in the fourth quarter, it's going to be hard for Western because they don't have necessarily that ability to throw the ball, get a big pass play. And by Shoemaker, give him credit because he's been a heck of a player. When you're pretty much it, if I was Western, I might come out and try to throw a few passes to show that he's not all in it, because I'm going to guess that he may have 2 or 3 spies on him all night. He's been it for them, and I think it's going to be important for Western to be able to establish another offensive weapon, because Kevin O'Shea and his staff, they're good coaches too.
They are, for sure. Here's what I think is going to be the difference, Michelle, and this is going to be one of the few we're going to pick differently. Western's best players are seniors. Twin Lakes' best players are juniors. And to me, that could be the difference between two pretty even teams. Plus, I just like the story. Nothing against Twin Lakes. I really want Western to win this game. What Austin Colby's done has been amazing. They were winless last year. They lost their best player earlier this year, and they still have a chance to win a sectional championship. So give me the Panthers. Michelle, thank you so much for your time, for doing all these previews. Everybody, we did 7 other sectional previews. Go listen to all of them. Plus, Michelle and I previewed and predicted all of the sectional championships in Central Indiana from all the classes. And thank you so much for listening. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a high school football fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about Central Indiana sports every single day. Thanks again, Michelle.
Thank you, Greg.
Central Indiana Sports Report is brought to you by TG Media, and I love Susie.